Library of Congress is home to most of the slave narratives, a multi-volume collection of interviews with former slaves. When the Civil War ended in 1865, more than 4 million slaves were set free. By the late 1930s, 100,000 ex-slaves were still alive. In the midst of the Great Depression, the Federal Writers Project hired journalists and writers to travel the country and record the memories of this last generation of African Americans born into bondage. Most former slaves were still living in the rigidly segregated South, a society deeply rooted in its Confederate past and that still treated black people as inferior. Although these ex-slaves did not all speak in one voice, they were the last African Americans able to give a first-hand account of what it was like to be a slave in the years before the Civil War. Over 2,000 interviews were transcribed as spoken in the vernacular of the time to form this unique historical record.
A condescending term turned friendly, endearment sort of term for friends.
We be playing in the barn, and Jimmy always say to me, "Come on, nigga, let's ride around the farm." I say, "I ain't no nigga." He say, "Yes, you is. My pa paid $200 for you. He bought you for to play with me."
To me, the word nigga means ignorant and lazy.
There was just two classes to the white folks. Buchla, slave owners, and poor white folk that didn't own no slaves. There was more classes amongst the slaves. The first class was the house servants. This was the butler, the maids, and the cooks. Then come the cradlers of the wheat, the threshers, and the millers of the corn and the wheat. The lowest class was the common field hand niggas.
I'm trying to put nobody down. We like, what's up, my nigga? And we pretty much showing love. Like, that's my nigga. I'm saying that's my main nigga.
Jimmy always say to me, "Come on, nigga, let's ride around the farm." I say, "I ain't no nigga. I ain't no nigga."
We don't use it in a positive way. We don't use it for the negative. Because the white people start calling it negative, you know what I'm saying? They use it negative way. They was trying to down us and everything. We flipped that and turned it to positive. Because people, you know what I'm saying? People took the word nigga, at first it was meant to be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas be called ignorant. You know, so we all know black people not ignorant. As you can see, we got black doctors, black lawyers, you know what I'm saying? Black entertainers. So okay, you wanna call me a nigga and say I'm ignorant? Well, I'm gonna call you a nigga and show you that I'm not.
It's never been in my vocabulary. I'm not against a nigga or nigga. I'm not against it per se. Most people say it. I mean, because I know it's like a camaraderie thing between friends.
When a slave died, massa make the coffin and send a couple of niggas to bury the body and say, "Don't be long, and no singing or praying allowed. Put him in the ground. Cover him up. Hurry on back to that field."
Yes, I was born a slave, and so was Rosa. We got out of the chattel slavery, and I was better off for getting out, but Rosa don't think so. She says all we got freed for is to starve to death. She says her white folks were good to her, but don't you expect me to love my white folks. I love them like a dog loves a hickory switch. I can say these things now. I'd say them anywhere, in the courthouse, before the judge, before God. 'cause they done all to me they can do. I'm done past everything but worrying about Rosa, 'cause she don't get enough to eat and 'cause she feels bad all the time. But there ain't no complaining in her. Mama, how you feel in the sun?
Best to be expected this time of year.
Plumb pitiful. We had to sleep on the floor in the cabin, huddled together in the cold weather, so we wouldn't freeze to death. Our life was a misery. I hate the white man every time I think of being no more than animals. My father was a blacksmith. Rosa never did know much about her father. Eh, Mama?
That's right. I never did know nothing about my pa, but I looked on my mama like a savior. Her name was Hannah Clemon, and Dr. Andrews, my master, had always owned her. Now, Dr. Andrews was a good man and a good liver. Dr. Andrews had about 12 slaves. The neighbors used to say, "There goes old Andrews, free niggers." That's 'cause he never hardly whipped them and gave them rest and playtime. And he doctored us when we was sick and took good care of us.
They talks a heap about the niggers stealing. Well, you know what was the first stealing done? It was in Africa, when the white folks stole the niggers just like you'd go get a drove of horses and sell them. But since the Lord saved me from a life of sin, I don't think about them things.